Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would you call the roll?
Is that working?
Richard,
Chair
where
Lewis?
Am I Hybels?
Here.
Richard, where am I Hybels?
Vice Chair Sykes? Here. Commissioner Qualls? Commissioner Hybels?
Present.
Commissioner Yun?
Present.
Commissioner Roy?
Present.
And I will note for the record that Commissioner Clark has stepped down from his seat, and Commissioner Jones is not present.
We are now open for the community forum and opportunity for the public to speak. So we have no speakers.
We have 2 speakers signed up
Okay.
for public comment.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Sana, and I'm with ACLU of Northern California. We have read POAC's annual report and support your recommended solutions to address the issues you've laid out in the expectations and requests section, including having a budget for POAC, filling the IPA and independent counsel roles, and getting the training you need to fully participate as commissioners. We encourage you to use your roles as independent commissioners to widely publicize the open IPA, independent counsel, and youth alternate positions. We also suggest adding the report to your website so community members can view it too. Thank you for your work in putting together the report and being transparent with the public about your concerns and recommended solutions. Thank you.
Through the chair, we have one more speaker for public comment. Sherry Ann Grimm.
Good evening. My name is Sherry Ann Grimm, and I'm speaking tonight because I'm deeply troubled by not just for those that were directly targeted, as I was, but for the safety of public discourse in our community. Recently, I raised legitimate concerns regarding the independence of POAC and the importance of maintaining public trust through transparency and accountability. These were not reckless accusations, they were thoughtful concerns raised through proper public channels grounded in civic responsibility and concern for those who may come forward with complaints or concerns in the future. Shortly afterward, POAC commissioners courageously issued a report that echoed many of these same concerns. And whether people agree or disagree with every conclusion, it's not the point. The point is that the commissioners fulfilled their duty, they examined the issues honestly, they spoke candidly, and they acted independently. And then came the response. Anonymous mass emails filled with personal attacks, insults, and defamatory statements were sent out to intimidate and discredit people simply for speaking up. This kind of behavior is designed to create fear and silence criticism rather than address the actual issues being raised. That is not leadership, and that is not accountability. In fact, these attacks demonstrate exactly why concerns were raised in the first place. If people fear retaliation for speaking honestly, many will simply stop coming forward. and that hurts transparency, accountability, and ultimately public trust. So tonight I want to acknowledge and commend the POAC commissioners who demonstrated integrity and independence by speaking openly despite the pressure that followed. Public service requires courage, and you showed it. Democracy is not protected by silence. It is protected by people willing to ask difficult questions and speak truthfully, even when it is uncomfortable. We cannot allow anonymous bullying to dictate who speaks, who questions, and who serves. Daylighting problems protect all of us. And unlike those hiding behind anonymous attacks, I use my real name. I stand publicly behind my words, because there is little credibility in attacks from someone unwilling to be identified or held accountable for what they say. I hope POAC continues to choose transparency, accountability, and courage, despite the actions meant to intimidate others.
Okay, the next item is the consent calendar and approval of the minutes.
So I'd like to note for the record that POAC actually doesn't have a consent calendar, and this is actually approval of the agenda and the minutes for the record. So can they take them together or separately? So item A is approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of April 9th, 2006, and item B is approval of the minutes for the special meeting of May 7th, 2026, as well as the agenda for tonight's meeting, May 14th.
So do we need to vote on this?
Yeah, so we can open public comment.
Yeah.
He's getting up.
Yeah, you can open public comment now.
Well, thank you. Let's open public comment. I can't hear.
I'll be brief. Your agenda tonight is like all of your other agendas. It's kind of bare bones with nothing in it. There's no staff notes, no nothing. And for example, tonight, why isn't that 9-page report in this document? People don't even know it exists, or if they know where it exists, it's a hell of a time trying to find it. I think staff is not doing their job by just leaving everything open this way. And I would ask that the committee put some pressure on them to start putting real staff reports in your agenda so that people know what you're talking about. They don't even know what the topic is unless they can figure out what the title really means. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more comments?
Through the chair, we do not have anyone on Zoom that has raised their hand to make public comment.
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
And the agenda?
Sorry, yes, both items and the agenda. Apologies.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Qualls, Commissioner Hybels,
Yes.
Commissioner Roy,
Yes.
Commissioner Yun.
Yes.
Passes by all members present.
So we're on to the report of presiding officer and members of the commission. So regarding the report that we put out, I was rereading the ordinance that establishes POAC, and I came across the requirement to submit a report to the mayor and the council by April 15th. I thought it would be a good opportunity to state where we are in the process of establishing POAC. This was on April 11th, so we had only 4 days. So I decided to start writing the first draft, and I sent it to Commissioner Sykes. In hindsight, I should have left it until we could get feedback from the other commissioners. Now that I have read it more carefully, I see that the report that we submitted talked about everything except what was requested. What it was supposed to state is what the commission has done over the previous year. For example, how many complaints we looked at, what policies we reviewed, what trainings we completed, and what public outreach we did. Writing reports is the job of the commission secretary, but we didn't have one at the time. I think what came through in the report that we wrote is our frustration. We have not hit the ground running. We are frustrated, and I know that the community is frustrated because we've had to wait for years for the Oversight Commission, and it's the lack of urgency with everything that frustrates us. So tonight, we're asked to discuss the report. We can do a do-over, or we can just leave it as is. Any comments? So open to public comments.
I'd like to disagree a little bit with the chair. I think what the report that was written was exactly what needed to be written. The accomplishments of this committee has been minuscule because of staff. Staff has gone out of their way to slow walk everything that they can or put barriers and impediments up. And I would follow up what I said a little earlier about the annual report. Where is it? Where is it posted? Why isn't it attached to tonight's agenda? And it should be presented to City Council. And I would ask POAC, if they have to officially vote, to ask the liaison to get it put on City Council agenda. I think the public needs to understand how disgraceful the behavior has been over the last 4 years. I'm going to be in the grave at the rate that this thing is going unless staff gets a little more motivated to do what they're supposed to. And I see just talking about things like how many reports you've read and things would be whitewashing what has really happened. What has really happened is nothing. And I think if staff was to do their job, the information could have focused on accomplishments, but you don't have very many accomplishments. You have a trail of tears, and I hope that my message reaches some of you to say that put more pressure on staff to do what they're supposed to instead of them doing what they think is right for the city. They're not doing what's right for the citizens of Vallejo. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more comments?
The chair, I'd like to take this time to, first of all, thank the residents who took the time to read the annual report. It is from the heart, and it was based on frustration. But that annual report has caused me to start looking, as Dr. Schussel always says, to read that ordinance. It is now posted over my desk at my house. I read it almost every day. And I want to make sure that what's in that ordinance is followed by this commission, and to make sure that we are adhering to the needs of the community. This commission was organized or created for the residents of Vallejo. It is our job to make sure that we adhere to what is written in the ordinance. There will be some questions asked about some of the actions taken. And to Ms. Grimm's point, I don't have a problem being bold and courageous in what I see and what I observe. I don't. And I will comment on it, and I will do it in the most professional way that I can. I'm here to build partnerships. I've said that before, and I'm here to make sure this POAC runs as efficiently with as much fairness and transparency as possible. So I again ask that you continue to support us in any way you can, and to encourage us any way you can, so we can make sure it doesn't take a long time to get this POAC operating the way it should. There are flaws in this process, and those flaws will be pointed out. And I know there may be some people who disagree about helping city staff, but that's not how I operate. If there is no city staff, there's no reason why we can't help move things along. Because to Dr. Schultz's point, if we don't do something, nothing will happen. So I may get some pushback, I may get some blows, I may be talked about, but I still have a job to do, and my goal and my focus is to get this POAC running the way it should, and to make sure that the needs are met of this community. Thank you.
Any other commissioners want to weigh in on this?
Through the chair, I just want to affirm the chair and the vice chair and the report that they put out. I know that I was really encouraged by the report that you put out when I was able to read it. And I think that despite the fact that it does not address what is outlined in the ordinance, I think that it is a valuable snapshot for where we stood in early April, and some of the early challenges that we faced. I think I'm slightly more optimistic than Dr. Schussel in our ability to continue to work with staff and to put together meaningful impact on this community through this process. I know I look forward to further agenda items we're going to talk about tonight, updates that we'll be receiving next week about independent attorney and about establishing the IPA ad hoc committee. And I think that these are like meaningful, important steps that show that we have been able to make some progress even within the frustrations that we've gone through over the initial months. So I wanted to thank you both for your report, and I think it should stand as our annual report.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I think I will have to disagree on the fact that there's contention that we haven't done anything. It's just a reminder to the public that we have only been ordained since January. And in that time, we have reviewed a complaint policy, we have approved 2 additional policies, and we are doing everything in our possible power to get things done in an expeditious manner and a transparent manner. And for us trying to stay positive, I would like to just remind each other that we are trying to do our best, and we're making that work in the parameters that we have. And so I would ask that the public give us grace and encouragement in our hard work. We are volunteers. We are not elected officials. We are taking our time, a lot of our time, to be on this board and to serve this community. And it only works if we have support from our community. So I would ask from our community to also reach out to their district council member to address your concerns. We will do that on our end, but community help is vital. And in regards to this report, I also stand behind it. But if we have the opportunity to address the accomplishments that we have, why not, right? If we want to make it pass muster and say that we did follow the ordinance, then we have an opportunity now to amend or keep as is, and amend and include that information that's missing that is required by the ordinance, unless there's something else. But
I think you can do an addendum, but
I also agree. And so I do want to also reaffirm and thank the amount of effort and time the both of you, the chair and the vice chair, have put in to make this happen. And we are all walking up a very steep hill to get to an accomplishment. Someone had asked me, what is your legacy for POAC? Like, what do you want to leave POAC? And I said, I just want to leave it in a better place so that anyone else who takes up the helm has an opportunity to not have to face the opposition and the hurdles that we face so that they can operate and that this body stays for a long time. So we are the first. So please be gracious. We are just residents. We live here and we love our community, and that's why we're standing up here. So thank you.
So does this mean there's a motion to do an addendum?
You can't, that's an information item tonight, you can't do
Okay.
a motion, but I would like to make a couple of suggestions for
Great.
you. Since the entire commission has not voted on the annual report, that needs to come forward as an action item on the agenda. If you want to make amendments to it, one of the ways that a lot of the other boards and commissions do their reports and things is appoint ad hoc committees to put reports together, then bring them to the commission. That's something that you could do. If you want to sit here as an entire board at a meeting and try and make the amendments that way, that's something you could do as well. It just all depends on how you want to handle that, and that's up to you. I'm just giving you what the options are. But we could, if you so desire, bring either one of those options back to you at your next meeting so that we can figure out how to move it forward.
Well, thank you. And I think since writing reports is the job of the secretary, if we need an addendum, why, I don't have to do it.
That's another option if you want the secretary and staff to take a stab at what they think should be in the report. That could be done as well, and that could be brought to you. And again, there's nothing to stop you from making amendments at a meeting either before it's finalized.
So I have a question. So my mind goes all the time. So if I have in my head how an addendum can be done, because I don't think there's that much to add to the addendum, to be honest with you, can we share that to the secretary, with the secretary?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay. All right. So you don't have to go through and all that stuff. So.
No, you can share it with the secretary.
Okay.
That's part of the job
That's
of the
fine.
secretary is
Right.
to receive that
Okay.
information.
I just wanted to put that also out there as an option for her. Thanks.
Okay, so for the record, you will share your addendums to the annual report with regards to the missing information. I can make the edits, and then we can agendize at your next meeting as an action item for vote. All right, thank you.
So is that, we're done discussing the report?
I'm sorry, just 2 questions. So the next item is specific to this existing annual report. Will there be any discussions about how we go forward with the next report? Or any?
That excuse me, that could be included in the agenda item if you want to talk about that, of course.
I think it would be nice to have that conversation so we know, okay, or like some kind of goal setting in a sense of like what we want in our annual report or what we want to focus on for the future, because it's going to come around the corner and I don't want to be blindsided again.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to the report from the secretary.
Oh, right, okay. City Council Liaison. So thank you very much. So I have several items scheduled under here. So for the budget update, I'm not sure what the prior secretary shared with you, but I know that there was a training budget of approximately $56,000 that was brought forward to City Council for the mid-year. Unfortunately, they did not approve the mid-year budget. However, we are planning on adding that into our 26-27 budget. We also are having conversations on how much we need to ask for the independent auditor as well as the assigned attorney. So we're trying to see if we can get some forecast numbers for that. But that will be included in the 26-27 budget going forward, which should go, the initial budget should go forward before council on June 9th. It may not be there right now because they've had to work on that over the last week, but it will be part of the final adopted budget moving forward. And I believe that There is some conversations that still need to happen around the training budget because we haven't yet ascertained which ones would be required in the time frame that you would be asked to complete them. I think that there's some scheduling things that have to be worked out because some may only be offered in the fall, some may be offered in the spring. So we're still looking at that. And then I believe that there's some required trainings, but it's not yet apparent to me which ones have been designated as required, which ones are suggested, I think, at the, under the purview of the chief of police, and then I think there was one other category, but I'm not sure for your training. So we're still trying to work that out, but either way, we'll just set that baseline budget at about $56,000. And then for item number B, so the status update on the RFP for the independent police auditor, that was posted on April 28th. We had a open question time for all interested parties to submit questions for May 8th. We did receive 2 questions, one related to budget, which we were unable to provide a definite number. We actually want the proposals to sort of give us their thoughts on what they believe would be an adequate budget for that role. But the other question was related to the average number of serious incidents that have been sort of noted in the past, and thankfully VPD did that research. So we were able to supply that answer through Planet Bids, which means that all that information is available to anyone interested. The proposal due date is actually May 22nd, so there's still some more time for folks to review and submit a proposal. I don't have an update on whether or not we received any interest so far. But I can let you know through an email once that closes, because I believe it closes before your next meeting. The status on the youth commissioner, I'll combine that with the fact that we did have a resignation of one of your members, Commissioner Clark, and so Dawn indicated that she will be doing a major recruitment at the end of this month, May, as well as through the beginning of June to try to fill those roles. And then one additional update was that there's some discussion on extending the terms of some of you because, as you mentioned before, there was a delay in actually getting POAC started, and so that date has come up. That item is going before the commission on the 26th with some options for them to consider. And then one other item is that you will have 2 policies that will be on, I believe, on your agenda at your next meeting, which is 803, records management, and 900, which is the temporary custody of adults. And I believe that's it for my update.
Thank you. Dr. Sheshel?
Yeah, I wanted to just clarify Commissioner Yun's concerns. My angst is not with the POAC commissioners, it's with the city staff. And if you really look at things that you voted on, the police department, they can ignore everything that you do right now. And until you get an independent lawyer and an independent auditor, you have no power, zip. And I think that's why I said you haven't accomplished anything, because anything you do right now can be totally ignored. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. What I would like to talk about briefly is with the independent auditor. And I would ask the chair if he could ask tonight of the secretary 2 major questions. Where is that RFP being sent? I gave a long list to this committee of various places. Mr. Reisner kind of dismissed them, but you know what? You don't know where these people are going to be. And you need to spread a long, wide net instead of just a few places that you feel comfortable with. Have you gone to the cities that have independent auditors and asked them what they did, for example? And there's all kinds of organizations that you could go to also and ask them, do they know of people, or could they advertise for you also? And I'd like to know who was sending the list out. And the committee should be requiring every month to see a list of where it was sent and what came back. This should not be a dark hole that all of a sudden they say, here's 3 people who responded or something. You need to know where it went, what the letter looked like and everything. And none of that seems to be happening. And that's my trouble with the way this city has done everything. Everything is in a dark shadow somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have one person online for this item, I
great.
believe.
Carol Heap, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. You have the floor.
Good evening. I really wanted to speak on the last item, but my hand didn't get called. So can I comment on
Go
the
ahead.
report item?
Speak on anything you want.
Thank you very much. So I did see the report on the agenda, itemized on the agenda, but there wasn't anything attached. So I didn't know how the community could participate in a discussion about the report, except to hear the comments that maybe you all wanted to talk about, and then we wouldn't know what wasn't being talked about. So I know you've made a decision to go ahead and resubmit the report for evaluation at your next meeting. That's great. The other thing I wanted to suggest is you submit an addendum, which you already agreed to, which is great. The only thing I would suggest that, because the charter tells you what should be in that report, and Mr. Lewis, you said those things were missing from your actual first draft. In order to follow the procedure, the charter, then the addendum needs to include responses to all the things that are supposed to be in that response. I certainly want to know about the complaint part of the process. As much information you can give us about the complaints you reviewed is very important, and as much statistical information that you can include about those complaints needs to be in there. And I would err on the side of trying to put more in than less. And if the city attorney says you've got too much in there, then remove it. But definitely, we want to know how many complaints, the gender of the complainant, the race of the complainant, maybe what district the complaint came from, how many officers were involved in each complaint, the gender and race of the officer involved in the complaint. So the statistics about the complaints, I think, are one of the most important jobs you have to do, because it gives the big picture, and then we can get down in the weeds about everything else. While I'm running out of time, post the report and the addendum to the agenda for the next meeting, so I can read it and everybody can read it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to say it's a bit early to do all sorts of statistical analysis, because we've looked at maybe 30 or 40 complaints in closed session, and none of those have been investigated. We don't really have any of that kind of information at this point. It's probably going to have to wait till next year's report, but we will get that kind of thing.
Through the chair, I had a question about the report of the secretary and regarding recruitment for the vacancy on the POAC. Do you guys know about the recruitment, the outreach process, and could you talk about it a little bit? Mainly, I really, I think it would really behoove this committee to have a Spanish speaker, a primary Spanish speaker on the committee. I know that you're talking about a specific district and then whittling it down specifically to one criteria, and you can't go that far. But I don't know how we could kind of make that recommendation or kind of ask council who's going to be appointing it, and also staff to maybe do some Spanish language outreach. I'm sure that's already part of the process, but it's something that I was really thinking about with Commissioner Clark's resignation.
So thank you for that question, Commissioner Roy. Dawn Abramson is our clerk, right? And so she conducts these recruitments, and what we can do is we can ask her to forward sort of the requirements that she's using, and perhaps, you know, where she's actually posting and doing the recruitments. I know that they do post it in several different locations, but I'm not exactly sure that that would address your request. So we'll make sure that you get that information.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I had a question about the IP auditor. I do recall, because I've been around here quite a while, that there was original RFP for the auditor that goes back to 2020. Is that correct?
I think it was 21, but there was another one that we did after the ordinance was approved too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that the secretary said the deadline for the due date is May 22nd, if I understood it correctly. It's posted on April 28th. The commissioners, do they get a chance to review it? Because I don't recall ever seeing it.
You mean the RFP that was posted? So what the information that was shared by the former secretary was that this commission was given the opportunity to review it, and he received, I believe, 2 comments from the commissioners on that RFP before posting it.
Okay, so I'm trying to, and I think I'm trying to remember, he did a final version of it with the, I think he did do that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it is on the 22nd of May. Okay. That answered my question. Thank you.
Of course.
Incidentally, Vice Chair, on your previous question, there was one response to the previous RFP. That person reached out again and asked to be able to respond to this one, and I expect that they're going to.
Thanks.
Could I ask for the independent auditor and for the recruitment of the vacancies, that they also be, I know that the RFP is in Planet Bid. Is it possible to have all of that recruitment information and all of that posted on our website so that at least there's a link for them to access the RFP? And that would obviously include the one for the other, any recruitment essentially, is that place it on our website at least?
Yes.
Or a link to it?
I could have that link to Planet Bid to the RFP posted on your website, and then we can provide a link to all the recruitment information as well as dates on your website as well.
Thank you.
I think that brings us to item 9, the attorney's report.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. I wanted to give you a brief report on the RFQ for the assigned attorney. That RFQ has closed. We've received 4 responses. We've already reached out to the ad hoc committee to try and find dates for them to take a look at those responses. I have not gone through the responses myself and reviewed them, so I can't tell you a lot about them yet. I think I would rather do that with the ad hoc committee present. So hopefully we'll get something set up. I know there were a few dates next week, but I don't think that anything has been solidified at this point. But hopefully we'll have something set up by next week so that they can start looking at those. We do, in fact, have a list of all of the firms and lawyers that the RFQ was sent to that will provide to the ad hoc committee and ultimately provide to the commission as well. And of course, a copy of the RFQ, which is essentially the language that's already in the ordinance. So we will keep you updated as things move along. Once the ad hoc committee's had a chance to review and they're ready to make the recommendation, we'll put it back on the agenda and bring it to you as quickly as we can.
Through the chair. I have some questions about this whole independent attorney process. I believe several of the commissioners received phone calls about where is the RFQ posted. I know because I went back and looked at the videotape, and I also went back and read the transcripts from the April 9th meeting. And I also read the ordinance when it came to how the independent attorney is selected. And it's, based on what I read, it's not quite gelling with what the ordinance states. So the question I have is, where and when was the RFQ posted? Because, and I know you said there were 37 law firms that were notified, but there are individuals who, and I know an email was sent to you where the RFQ was sent to that individual in
Yes.
mid-April, but people are asking where was it posted?
It wasn't posted, it was sent directly to individual firms and attorneys.
So there was no ever in any intent to post it?
No, and that's not typically how attorneys address RFPs. They don't go to Planet Bids typically to look at RFPs.
Is it RFP or RFQs?
I'm sorry, RFQ. This is
Okay.
an RFQ.
Okay. So that's not how the process is?
Not, for law firms, typically not. They're typically directly sent. Sometimes they are posted other places, online or city websites. I don't think we posted it on the city website either at this time.
Is there a reason why?
I don't know. Not that I can recall.
So what I find interesting is when we're getting calls about where's the RFQ.
As far as I know, you only got one call, and that person got sent a copy of the
You're
RFP.
saying that we got one call, but people are asking, people called us and asked us.
This is the first I've heard of it, and no one told me about it.
Yeah, well, I would think because it came forward that someone would have done that, because there was, when we had a conversation with the city attorney, John and I, on May 7th, we asked, where is the RFQ posted? Never received an answer back from her where that happened. And then the other question is the outreach process. And you did say the 37 law firms, but when I brought up NACO, which is a national organization that has the ability to post positions such as this, it was kind of like a shrug.
We're not a member of Nicole.
I understand that. But you can post, right? Is there a policy for that?
That's a benefit of membership. I don't think that we can post there without being a member.
Okay, so, but you're not for sure, correct? You said you think?
I am not certain.
Okay. So I'm looking for a clarification. The other question I have is, how does the city attorney characterize her own role in this process?
The ordinance is pretty clear what the role is.
Okay.
That the ordinance says that the city attorney selects the assigned attorney with the advice and input of the commission.
Let's see. I read, and maybe I misread stuff. I don't know, sometimes I'm not as smart. I'm kind of an airhead from what I heard. But anyway, it said the POAC's governing ordinance establishes that the commission's ability to engage its own independent attorney is foundational to its independence. The city attorney's office has a defined and limited role in that process to execute the appointment after seeking the commission's advice and input. It does not have the authority to control the search, determine the candidate pool, or make the final selection.
I'm not sure where you're reading that from, Commissioner.
Okay, that's fine. So since the commission...
That's not what the ordinance says.
Okay, I'm just asking questions. That's all I'm doing. So I'm just saying, and I believe, now, let's see, I did go back to, I believe that even the ACLU kind of commented on something. Here's something I found. The ordinance clearly states the city attorney shall assign a qualified attorney to provide legal advice to the commission after seeking advice and input from the commission at a noted, regular, or special meeting.
Correct, that's right.
Okay. Okay.
That's the process that we're going through right now.
And then when I go back and look at the notes for the April 9th meeting, your statement was that the city attorney is the final decision maker in selecting the assigned attorney. It comes as a characterization not supported by the ordinance, and that subordinates POAC's role to one of advice only. So I'm trying to understand, and help me understand, is that her role, or is her role to execute the contract?
The ordinance says again, that the assigned attorney, whoever that is, can be someone from either the city attorney's office or from outside. And that the city attorney, with the advice and input from the commission, makes that appointment. That's exactly what the ordinance says.
So you're saying she makes the appointment?
That's what the ordinance says.
Okay. All right, so I guess I need to go back and get an understanding, because that's not quite what I understood. So it's still a little daunting that the RFQ was not posted on the city's website and that people are calling and asking, where was it? Because people were looking for it.
The only person I know of that called and asked received a copy of it. Had I been informed about it, whoever it was that you're talking about, if there's somebody different, would have received a copy as well.
But my question is, but you're now, so if I understood you correctly, you said RFQs are not posted on the city website?
No, I didn't say that. I said
Okay.
we didn't do it this time.
So if it's not posted on the city's website and one person called, why would they even have to call? It should be on the city website or on the POAC website, correct?
Well, my understanding on this one was, I heard about this person. He said that he had sent an email to the commission, and I don't know if a commissioner told him to reach out to me, but he actually reached out to me and asked me if I would send him a copy of the RFQ, which I did right away.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm sure the ad hoc committee may have further questions for you, but my thought on this whole matter is because and I asked you about the posting, that it was not posted, and that individuals had to call to get it, that maybe the corrective action on this is to have it reposted on the city website, so everybody has an opportunity, because my understanding is the individual who was interested in applying for it could not meet the deadline, because my understanding is the original deadline was May 4th, and then it was extended to May 8th, but then there's no posting anywhere, because you just said it wasn't on the city website, correct?
Right.
So how is that fair and equitable? That's the whole point I'm trying to get to.
So the whole world is never going to see what's posted on the city's website.
Okay.
Someone has to be physically looking for it.
Okay.
So rather than make them look for it, we decided to send it to all of the firms that were going to have the qualifications to do it. There's 40 of them. That's a lot of law firms. Most of them we don't know and have never dealt with or done business with.
So they're
and
not.
So we did receive. I do know this about the 4 that we received. At least 2 of them are currently serving as attorneys for police commissions. The other 2, I don't know. As I said, I haven't gone through all the details, but I do know that 2 of them are. One of them is also serving as the counsel for the Oakland Ethics Commission, the San Diego Ethics Commission, and another ethics commission. So I think that it would be good if we could let the ad hoc committee do its job. If they don't like those people, they can let us know. And we can come back to you and see what you have as far as input goes, and then we can decide what to do. But nobody has seen them yet, and I think it's a little bit early to be thinking that there's something wrong with those responses. I don't think there are.
I didn't use the word wrong. I'm just asking for clarification,
Sure.
because you said law firms. Well, what about other organizations that are engaged in legal work?
What other organization would you like for it to be sent to?
I can't think of anything out there, but if you post it on the website, you might get some.
So there are specific requirements for the assigned attorney set forth in the ordinance. If they don't meet those requirements, they can't send in an RFQ, or they could, but they're going to be disqualified. So we sent it to firms that we knew were going to meet the qualifications, 40 of them. And we got 4 responses.
Out of how many?
Out of 40, which is actually a pretty good response rate.
4 responses?
Correct.
Out of 40 law firms?
Yes.
And how many attorneys are in law firms?
It depends on the size of the firm.
So based on what you just said, that doesn't quite gel. Because if you send it to 40 law firms.
It's a very specialized area.
Okay.
All right? So there aren't a lot of lawyers in the state who do this kind of work. There are very few.
Okay. All right. So you're meeting with the ad hoc committee when?
We don't have a date yet. We've reached out to them with dates, possible dates to meet, and we're waiting to hear back from everybody, and we'll set something up hopefully next week.
It seems likely Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if any of the commissioners have anything else to say. I don't know if any of the commissioners have anything else to say.
So the question I guess that I have is, what is the harm of having it posted? Obviously.
Well, I didn't say there was harm. I said that we've already sent the RFQ out and that we received responses. And it was my understanding that you wanted to get somebody here as quickly as possible instead of having us sitting here at every meeting. So that was what I did. I went out and right away and we did it, and we sent it to a very large number of firms. In fact, one of the firms I think you recommended, commissioners. So.
Right. Okay. The other question that I've had, so say we go through this process and we select someone. So we have a budget now to hire?
No, you don't.
Oh, okay. So we do have time, essentially. Even if we were to engage someone, or say that the ad hoc committee and the commission selected someone, we don't have the money to pay this person, right?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so through the chair, the process takes time to enter into a contract.
Right.
So there'll be sufficient time between that contract execution and the budget adoption to ensure that you can get someone in place and there won't be sort of an interruption of services.
It's already mid-May. The new budget takes effect July 1st. So you're going to have, I don't know how many meetings of the ad hoc committee it's going to take. Then you're going to need one, probably two meetings of the commission before an ultimate decision is made. So that's going to take up most of that time.
So thank you for your report. Are there any other comments? Doug?
I'd like to say a few things because I think the public is getting short shrift from the city. I spoke to several lawyers. They felt it was totally inappropriate that the city attorney wrote herself in that she's the judge and jury in the end. And she has a conflict of interest because she defends city employees, including police. And so how can she, in a small office, be giving direction to anyone who is doing the opposite? And I think that other than signing a contract, the city attorney's office should have absolutely no involvement due to these conflicts of interest. And also there's ongoing investigation about potential improprieties in the city attorney's office in dealing with the police. So how can the city attorney's office be involved in this process and it can be considered unbiased? I provided a list of organizations beyond law firms, and I would say that the city's response is highly narrow-minded. Did you go to, and I have a question whether you'd be willing to answer it, Mr. Reisner. Did you go to civil rights attorneys? Did you go to people like maybe Nolan? I realize that she's a foe of the city, but did she have any recommendations? You didn't ask anyone for recommendations. That's not the way a job search normally works. You spread as far an umbrella as you can with the hope that you can catch someone. Commissioner Yun gave you some people, and if you had gone to other people, you would have probably gotten more lawyers. And I would ask that in my final comment, that limiting your search the way you did is not benefiting the citizens of Vallejo. It's trying to stack the deck to give you someone that you want, not what the citizens of Vallejo wants. And I think it's a disgrace. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, a couple of comments there I'd like to respond to. First of all, the city attorney's office does not have a conflict in representing this body. There's not a legal conflict there. And Secondly, we are not being investigated. There isn't an investigation that exists currently of anybody in the city attorney's office, despite what has been published in some of the news media, that doesn't exist. And I just wanted to respond to that. I don't typically respond to Mr. Schussel's comments or other public speakers, but that's misleading to come up and say that all the time.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
We have two individuals with their hands raised.
Oh, good.
Carol Heap, you now have the floor. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Okay, good evening again. Commissioner Sykes, I want to thank you for your representation for the citizens of Vallejo. I think you're getting pushback just watching the dialogue between you and the attorney on the dais. I feel that he's condescending to you, and you're pushing back, and that's what you're going to have to do, because I don't feel you're getting a lot of support right now, and I congratulate you on your courage and your tenacity in dealing with these very important issues. The attorney asks, well, who else would you have me mail it to? If he has to ask that question, then somebody else should be in charge of who gets the mailing for the RFQ for the attorney position. There are lots of agencies out there, and if he doesn't know who they are, then we need to get somebody else to come up with a list. Got the ACLU, the NAACP, NACAR. I used to be a member of that organization, the National Civilian Review Board agency. And of course, they're going to post a job. You don't have to be a member. God's sakes, they're inclusive, not exclusive. None of these civilian review police accountability agencies are going to be exclusive. They're inclusive. They want to do this work. It's very important work you're doing. What was the other thing? Oh, and you know what's up with that it wasn't posted on the city job site. Everybody who's looking for a job and wants to work in a city goes to the city website. I've gone to the city websites before looking for jobs. It's like the first place you go. Some people check it daily. I mean, that's just incredulous that it's not posted. It needs to be relisted. Again, here we are. You're being told you need to hurry up with this process, get it over with, and move on. No. You need to slow down, do it right. Some of you have suggested it. We do that we post it in the city website. Nothing's going to happen in the next couple months anyway. So let's 4 people from 40 law offices. It's not acceptable. It's just not acceptable. You guys, stand up for yourselves. You tell the city staff, what you want them to do. Don't ask permission. That's not how it works. You tell the city attorney what to do. All right? If he's got a problem, he'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Wood, you now have the floor. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Yes. Hi. I would like to make a couple of points. First of all, I do agree with Ms. Heap that the exchange between Commissioner Sykes and Mr. Reisner was contentious, and I agree with Ms. Heap with the kudos to Commissioner Sykes to stand firm, ask your questions. You have a right to be on that commission. You have a right to ask those questions. Mr. Reisner has a right to respond to them professionally, without condescension. and to provide you the information. He's there. He's a civil servant. He's a paid civil servant, so he has his job to do. So I would ask Mr. Reisner that you continue to do your job professionally, and you will be asked what you might perceive as hard questions. And I would expect, as a citizen of Vallejo, to hear a response that is a professional response. Agreed with Ms. Heap regarding standing firm. Yeah, just kind of like more power to you. Ask your questions, get your ducks in a row, ask your questions, continue to ask for support, continue to ask about process questions. It can be a Byzantine process sometimes with civil service, with government work, but continue to ask your clarifying questions as needed. And regarding the RFQ posting, is there any prohibition at this point for, just as an FYI, to post the information that was included in the RFQ to the POAC website? Why not just it doesn't have to be, it could be just with the caveat that this is FYI, this is the information that was submitted to these different law firms that were on a short list in terms of the law firms that could provide the particular skill set that you were looking for. Why not just, in the interest of transparency, put it out there on the POAC website as an FYI only? And then I had a final point, but I think I've lost it. That's it. Thank you for your time.
We can definitely post it on the POAC website, not a problem. And Vice Chair Sykes, I hope you didn't think I was being condescending to you, because I wasn't. Was not my intent. I thought we were having a conversation. But if you felt that way, I apologize.
So one of my tactics is to ask questions, and I do make people a little testy. That's what I do.
And that's okay.
That's what I do. But when I ask clarifying questions and I don't quite get the answers, I'm going to push, because your response is a question. Did you post it?
Sure.
And the answer was no, and I asked why not, and it's like you seemed a little upset that I asked that question. So the question is just very simple. Why wasn't it posted on the city website?
I don't have an answer for that.
See, that's not going to be acceptable for the community. That's my point, and you just verified what Dr. Schultz has been standing up here saying. So I'm just trying to understand. I ask simple questions. You confirm what these individuals are hearing out here. That's to say I don't know. That's unacceptable.
We wanted to get the RFQ out as quickly as possible. That was the whole idea behind it, and that's what we did. So,
But when you do the RFQ quickly, the thing that comes to my mind as a commissioner sitting on this dais, is it honest, open, and transparent? Every single time I've sat up here, I've asked that and made that statement. And you have individuals coming in here saying, no, you just confirm why they don't trust this city. Dr. Schultz comes up here every month and says every time why they're uncomfortable with the process. And he made a point that the comments are not directed at us, but at city staff. And to say, I don't know why the RFQ was posted,
so
that's not flying with me, and that's not going to fly with this community.
I understand your position. I'm going to defend our work a little bit. What we did is very common. It's not unusual. It's not just what we do in Vallejo. It's done all over the place, especially on something like that with professional services. We don't fly those on Planet bids typically, or places like that. Now, do we look at firms, and we all know who the firms are. They're not hard to find, who do this work. And that's what we did. We sent it out to as many as we could find. 40, I believe there are 40 on the list now. So that was our intent. There was no intent to hide anything from anybody. What we want to do is get a job done for you so that you would have an opportunity to get somebody selected and sitting in this chair instead of me. So, we can go back and fly it somewhere. I don't know where, but we could fly it somewhere if that's what the commission would like to do. and see if we get any responses to it. That's fine.
I would like to do that. And
But it-
because if we don't ask for it, then our credibility is going to go down the toilet. So if I can make the motion to repost,
It's not an action item, you can't make the motion.
well, then I would suggest we.
That's a suggestion. I'll take it back to my boss. If she agrees to do that, we'll do it.
That's fine. I'm just trying to avoid getting the hits. I think they can be avoided but
I understand.
But I also want to state that perception is what drives this country, and you know that. So when you sit up here and go, I don't know, what you think the perception is, if you were to ask everybody sitting in this audience what that perception was,
Yeah.
it wouldn't look good for you.
I think I explained it.
Okay. But see, the other thing you have to understand is that you're an attorney. We're lay people. So all that stuff you're saying, that's not how it's done, how are we supposed to know that? The point that Dr. Schussel made is that we are up here, as I've said before, we're flying this, we're building the plane as we're flying it, and for you to explain that here today, that's disturbing for me. Because how are we supposed to know that? That should have been told to us from day one.
Well-
And I'm not trying to be argumentative, but it goes to the point of why we wrote that annual report and why our frustration is so high.
Okay, so I understand.
Okay, good.
Are there any more comments on this issue? So I guess we'll move on to the action calendar. Any public comment on that?
Would you like for me to read, Chair, would you like for me to read the item?
Yeah.
Okay, so A, communications, discussion on proposed communication, review and provide feedback and possible direction to staff. So, that's a weird title.
Oh. Please.
I'm sorry, was this on the last item? Your generally public comment is once. On this item, action calendar? Okay.
I just want to point out, this item is typical of what happens with this committee. There's nothing there to read. So how can I come up here and say anything intelligent about communications? We have no idea what's proposed, no idea what you want, no idea where you're going. And I think that this and other items without staff reports ought to be tabled until you start giving the public and the committee some information. Does anyone up here even know what they're talking about? Because I sure don't, and I've gone to every meeting. It wasn't on the website.
It's on the agenda.
Well, let me ask you this, except for the four of us who were at the meeting tonight, how would anyone even get access to it? In some ways, it's almost a Brown Act violation because you haven't shown these materials and published them at least 3 days in advance. And you may want to reconsider even discussing this until you put it back on with the information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to clarify that it is on the agenda? Okay.
Liat Mensheimer, you may approach the podium.
Make that
Meitzenheimer. Good evening. There isn't a lot of information on here, but I'm coming to you from somebody who's a resident of the city for over 40 years. And I can tell you back in the 90s, we had a big issue with the crack epidemic, and our neighborhood was going crazy. And so when we couldn't get the help that we needed from the police department, we came to the city, we talked to everybody we could talk to, trying to figure out how we can get more attention from the police department for our neighborhood. It wasn't until the Human Relations Commission, this city's Human Relations Commission, took their meeting to the street and came to our neighborhood and talked to the neighbors that gave us confidence that somebody was listening to us and somebody was wanting to help us with the problems that we have. So putting together a flyer is good because you want people to know, but you guys are going to have to take it to the people. You can't expect people to come to this meeting at City Hall and be comfortable. We have a long history in this city with issues with the police department. When I was on the Human Relations Commission back in the 90s, we were dealing with the complaint process, trying to figure out what's the best way to do the complaint process. And we were at a meeting, and the public came out, and this elderly gentleman came up, and he was saying, he told about something that had happened, and he was saying that he was upset about it, and he felt that he had been done wrong. And the police chief at that time went up to the podium and told the guy, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you are afraid because you haven't filed a complaint. He says, if we were doing so many things wrong, we would have more complaints filed. And that was his basis for addressing this man who was saying that he had been approached and he felt that he was done wrong. And this was a man that was like 70-something years old, white gentleman. And we decided we wanted to try to figure out a better way to do the process for a complaint so that people would make it easier, make it more comfortable for people to come. But the first thing that we had to do was to make sure that the public trusted us because you're the front line. It's not what the city's responsibility, it's not the police department, it's not the police union, it's you guys, and it's a lot of weight to be on your shoulder. But you guys have the opportunity to build something really good for this city, but you have to take it out to the community. And going to meetings in different churches or organizations and just talking about the work you're doing and getting feedback from people on what they want to see and what they see as issues in the police department and building that rapport. So just having a flyer is great to tell people that you exist, but they need some contact with you guys. They need to talk to you. They need to understand where you're coming from and what your interests are in this commission and where you want to go with it. So I would say it's nice to have the meetings here when you have to take care of your business, but you can kind of plan in there to try to find out whether or not you can go out into the community and talk to the people in the community and try to build trust so that they can understand you're here and that they'll be trusting that they can come and talk to you and then they won't be approached the way they have in the past.
Thank you. You know, we're talking about this flyer. We want to do public outreach. We've been anxious to do public outreach. We've requested the things that we would need to do that. And so Commissioner Sykes actually put together this proposed flyer. And I think it would be good if we just get a flyer together so that we, as a first step, so that we can start doing that public outreach. And I don't think it's a big deal if, you know, this looks pretty good to me, and if we do it, and we can always do another one later. So that's my thought.
So on the flyer,
You gotta get it closer.
on the flyer, under how, in person or watch online, can you add the Zoom link?
You know, I would like to suggest that we have an email address just for complaints. And because this flyer has all the commissioners listed with, I guess, their email addresses. But it would be good if we had an email address just for people to file a complaint with POAC.
Probably will need Spanish and Tagalog versions as well.
And Who would monitor that email?
I know that one of the items up for discussion is whether to just have this be a digital item or to also have it be physical. I saw that in the proposal. I think we really need to have a physical flyer that we can hand out in addition to blasting it out digitally. To the comment about reaching out to the community, certainly accessibility is an issue, and having a physical flyer, incredibly important. I would also like to see the Zoom link for watching online added to the digital version, and also where it says visit the webpage for that to be a direct link to the site. On the physical flyer, I think it would be really great, or I strongly recommend if we had 2 QR codes on there, one that links directly to our website, and then another that links to the complaint portal. And if you could, if people are comfortable, want to go ahead and file a complaint right there, it may increase the number of complaints that we have to review, but that's our work, and I know that that's what we're here for. I'd also like to see, like you said, to chair an email link or an email address that's directly dedicated to, if people don't want to, I know we spoke about this in a previous meeting, actually go through the official complaints policy and complaints portal to just speak directly to us as a sort of collective. And I know that we have to be careful of the Brown Act there, so that would be, maybe secretary or one individual person could monitor that email address. But I think specifically having physical copies with those QR codes could go a long way for people to just access us right away. And I do really look forward to when we can get out into the community and physically get these flyers to churches, to the farmers market, to these events. And I know that's a budgetary concern. And hopefully we have a resolution on that soon.
So is there a motion on this item? Mm-hmm.
Since this was an action item, was it posted 3 days before on the website? Because when I looked at the website, I didn't see it. If it was there, then I will take back my point of order. But the committee needs to be very sensitive to the fact that on things you're voting on, it's got to be posted at least 3 days in advance. Thank you.
So through the chair, I can answer that. All City Brown Act meetings are posted at least 72 hours in advance. All information is uploaded, especially as it relates to the action calendar. Perhaps what the public commenter is mentioning is that POAC has their own website. That is not the official record of the city. Now that I know that you have your own website, we will try to update those links faster. However, the city's website is where all the official agendas and minutes and information can be found. Actually, on the POAC website, there is a link that links to Civic Plus, but I understand that there's also a section below that on the POAC website where you have requested a direct link where someone doesn't have to click twice to get to the meeting items. So we'll make sure that that's updated. And I would like, before you make a motion for this item, just to make sure that I have it correct for the record.
Can I say
Yes.
one thing before you do that? So there are 2 types of meetings. I want you to understand this because you're still pretty new. And we've had this training with the Brown Act before. And I want you to understand this point since Dr. Schussel brought it up. Regular meetings have to be posted 72 hours in advance. He's right, that's true. However, it's not true that you can't take action on an item that's posted less than 3 days before the action item is heard. There are things called special meetings that are posted 24 hours in advance that allow you to take action on items. And that's done all the time at cities throughout the entire state. Just wanted to clear that up so that you had the correct information.
Thank you.
And through the chair, so just so that I have it right, for the direction received on this action item A, you would like a generic email for complaints created for POAC. You
Yes.
would like the flyer to be translated in multiple languages. You would like a QR code that links directly to the complaint portal on the flyer. And then you would also like a QR code that links directly to the POAC website on the flyer. Okay.
I think you
Thank
got
you.
it.
Don't forget the Zoom link.
So as far as the Zoom link, I believe that we can put the website address to POAC, but doesn't the Zoom link change? It'll stay the same? Okay, so yes, we can do that.
And that would be mostly for like the digital version of the flyer. Yeah.
So since this is for feedback and direction, possible direction tonight, what I suggest is you can make a motion giving that direction, and then the secretary, when she gets the work done, would bring it back to you for a final approval to look at. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
so I can add it to your
Through the
next.
chair, this is Manny, your friendly IT neighborhood person. I just wanted to inform you guys that any static QR codes, it has to be reflective of the QR code that's used for that specific meeting. So there is a specific URL that's used for this specific meeting, and then there's a specific code for the meeting that I'm currently running right now in the Vallejo room. So I just wanted to make that known.
So Manny, does that mean that we can copy the QR code for this meeting and add it to the flyer?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
I'm glad you guys have worked this out.
Could I also make one text change, if possible? So in the bolded section at the top, the Police Oversight and Accountability Commission, POAC, is a group of volunteer Vallejo residents that I would like to add. Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion that we do all this stuff.
I had one suggestion about the text as well, and I want to, again, thank the chair and vice chair for their work on putting this together. I really respond to, an inclusive, sort of positive invitation for people to, and I know that we haven't succeeded at getting too many folks out to our meetings yet, but hopefully that comes to pass quicker. I'd like to maybe propose that instead of reaching out to people by saying, without your presence or voice at the center, public safety gets redesigned, but we say with your presence and voice at the center, public safety gets redesigned as more of an invitation to get people to come out. And to that end, instead of saying that won't work if our goal is a robust, vibrant, and safe Vallejo, we say our goal is a robust, vibrant, and safe Vallejo, and we invite you to participate in that. And there's maybe just in the last sentence an additional able to that I think is maybe just a typo. So if it just said, hear how complaints are handled and hold the department accountable. If we could just strike that able to, because I think it's just a suggestion.
I like them. Thank you.
Thank you. I like your version too.
So can I get a motion to accept all of those proposed changes?
Yeah, that's my motion.
I'll second.
So roll call vote, Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sykes. Yes. Commissioner Qualls. Yes. Commissioner Hybels.
Yes.
Commissioner Roy.
Yes.
Commissioner Yun.
Yes.
Passes by all members present. Thank you. So on to action item number 2, adopt a resolution appointing an ad hoc subcommittee for review of responses to the IPA, the Independent Police Auditor RFP.
So do we have comment on this item?
I do have one comment for clarification purposes. I believe I saw in the something about 2 people on the ad hoc committee.
You can appoint up to 3.
Okay, so can that be changed in, let me see, was it in the resolution? I thought I saw that in there.
Number 4. It's almost the second to last
Yes,
page.
you have 2 in there, we'd like to
That's not
change.
a problem. This isn't the final version, it's just the version that's in the
Okay,
agenda.
so we want to make note that it should be 3.
Well, as long as the commission agrees that it's 3, yes.
Okay, I just want to be consistent because I think we had the same discussion regarding the independent attorney, so it was 3.
You have 3 on that particular.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, we do need to see which commissioners, I believe we had, we didn't get a chance to talk about it last month. And so I believe there's if any of the commissioners are interested in serving on this ad hoc committee.
Can I just ask, so each commissioner can be on as many ad hocs as they want?
You can.
So there's never a conflict in any instance?
No.
Okay. I would like to nominate myself to be on this committee, ad hoc committee,
Okay.
if the commission would accept.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is anybody else going to nominate themselves?
I'll nominate myself.
Thank you. That's 2.
All right.
We're look-
I'll nominate myself.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second one.
Commissioner
Myself.
Sykes?
Oh, thank you.
I got a question. Wasn't Mr. Clark on some ad hoc committee or another? So we'll have to do something about that.
He's on the complaint.
He was on the complaint
Yeah,
policy.
It's,
On the complaint.
we're good on that. We still have 2 people on that ad hoc committee, and it's not that big a deal.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to change, do we need a motion to change the floor? Okay, so we'll just need a motion to accept the 3 nominees for the ad hoc subcommittee to review the independent police auditor proposals.
I make a motion to accept the nominees.
I second it.
So
Cheers.
do we have to read it the way the resolution reads?
No, you've nominated 3 people. We'll just make the change.
Okay.
As long as we have a majority that supports the 3 nominations, you got it.
Okay, thanks.
Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Qualls, Commissioner Hybels,
Yes.
Commissioner Roy,
Yes.
Commissioner Yun.
Yes.
Passes by all members present. Thank you.
The next item is information calendar, which we don't have anything on future agenda items.
If I may, I'd like to make a couple of requests. First, I would like to consider getting an agenda for our bylaws, to at least get our bylaws going. Or a standard operating procedure that we would be able to do possibly through an ad hoc committee as well. And the second one would be to set a goal setting for the commission as an agenda item, so that we can have kind of a plan for, now that we're fully operational, at least have a plan of what or at least let the public know what our top priorities are. And the last one, if I remember correctly, I should have read my notes before I decided to speak. And I also wanted to kind of agendize community outreach as an action item, or as an agendized item, to really go over what our parameters are for community outreach. I understand that we don't have the budget to do so, but we as individuals can take that upon ourselves and at least figure out, can we do that in pairs? Could we decide to divide and conquer some of situations like that? Those are the 3 that I would propose.
What is that? Um, I guess it should go on the agenda, yeah. Yeah. So for the next agenda, put the change to the complaint form on the agenda, yeah.
Well, you might want to make it clear to them.
Yeah. So we want to put on the agenda considering the complaint form, the revised complaint form that we are working on.
So I want to remind the commission that the city has a two-step process for individual commissioners to request items be placed on the agenda. So the first step's what you're doing now. We'll get a list of, actually it's not the first step, we'll get a list of them, then it has to come back to you as an agenda item to consider whether or not to agendize that particular item. I know it feels cumbersome, but that's really the city's code, and it has not been changed, and council has not asked to change it. So that's the same process that applies to city council, applies to every other board and commission in the city.
So explain that to me again.
There's two steps. You asked tonight to put something on the agenda. It has to come back at a subsequent meeting, then it's agendized for you to consider whether to put it on the agenda. Then it would come back at a meeting after that for you to actually discuss it and deliberate about it.
Great.
And that's just in the municipal code, sorry.
Okay. So are we done here? Is it time for closed session?
So through the chair, I have 4 items, just to be clear. Bylaws with a subset of standard operating procedures, goal setting, community outreach, parameters, and particularly the budget, and then revised complaint form. Okay, thank you.
Can we add one more? Can we look at considering getting some kind of, and this is no insult to the city attorney's office, getting some kind of formal training in terms of how the operational process for police commissions, using other cities as an example, so we don't look like we're floundering up here.
And Secretary Conley, we could also combine the goal setting and the community outreach as one item as well, if that would make things easier.
That's fine, I can combine those two.
Through the chair, just a question for staff, and pardon my naivete on this issue. Is there any way to speed up that two-step agendized process? Like, say we were to have a meeting in 2 weeks that was really short, where we just approve the agenda items, don't really have any additional discussion for our following regular meeting. If we got a quorum together, we could potentially do that, right?
Yes, you could do that.
Okay. I know that everybody's busy and that the schedules are tight, but especially as it pertains to a lot of these initial items that we're looking at, the IPA and the attorney and community outreach, I think it would be good if we could expedite some of these things a little bit. So we're talking about in 2 months from now, we could start discussing some of these things under our current schedule, right? And that just feels maybe a little slow.
So through the chair, what I will do is I will work with our clerk to figure out which rooms are actually available, and then I'll reach out to you with those dates, and then we can try to see if we can get a special meeting before your next regular meeting.
Thank you. That would be great, because it would then look like we were actually doing something.
I'm sorry for committing us all to more meetings, but
yeah,
okay, good. Okay, cool. Thank you.
But
Glad
yeah,
you're on
it'd be
board.
good to get going on this thing. Thank you. So that's it.
Before we go into closed session, through the chair, Secretary Conley, do we have the 2 policies on there for future agenda items too? 803 and the other one?
Yes,
Okay.
so those will be scheduled for your June meeting.
Okay.
So let's go into closed session.
So we have to announce what we're going to do in a closed session.
Oh,
Chair
good.
and I, typically, I would do that if that's okay. I'll go
Please.
ahead. Okay. The commission will meet in closed session this evening concerning public employee discipline dismissal release pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, discussion and consideration of complaints and reports, to discuss complaints, charges, investigations, and discipline, unless the employee requests an open public session, involving Vallejo Police Department employees and information deemed confidential under Penal Code Sections 832.5 through 832.8 and Evidence Code Section 1040. We're going to review complaints, citizen complaints 26-33, 26-34, 26-35, 26-36, 26-38, 26-39, and 26-40. You're going to review or discuss upcoming reports for IRs 25-52, 2601, 2602, and you're going to consider an investigative report for making a recommendation to the Chief of Police concerning discipline, and that is 25-08.
Commissioner Hybels, you need to come back.
Thank you.
And I do say,
Bobby was.
We'll make sure it's done next time. I have it on my notes.
We're ready. We're ready. Say we're going to announce the closed session, report out of closed
Yeah,
session.
we're reporting out from the closed session.
All right, so the commission did meet this evening in closed session concerning public employee discipline dismissal release pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, discussion and consideration of complaints and reports. To discuss complaints, charges, investigations, and discipline involving Vallejo Police Department employees and information deemed confidential under California Penal Code Sections 832.5 through 832.8, as well as Evidence Code Section 1040. And the commission reviewed the complaints as set forth in the agenda. They reviewed some upcoming reports as set forth in the agenda, and they also made recommendations concerning the findings on an investigative report, and that completes the report out of closed session. Now you can adjourn. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Manny.